How about now? Okay. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, people. I I can't see anything far away when I put these on. Thank you for joining me today on another photo stream or photo chat live stream. I'm just still trying to wake up, and I don't know why it's so hard to change my sleep schedule so I can get up early and be with and hang out with you guys. Oh, let me fix the chat window. Oh my goodness. We got this and this and this button. All right. Now I think we're good. Oh, whoops, one more thing. And then I'll be on it here like white on rice. Hold on. Oh, good morning, Serge and John and Craig and David. David Crooks, always good to see you. Thanks for the lens wipe. That fixed up my camera really nicely. David Crook runs a local photography club here that I just joined recently and really been having a lot of fun going out. Uh, and John follows. Thank you. Yep. Hopefully I fixed the sound. And Nature and John Yutze, good morning. And Craig, I noticed at the end of the stream on Sunday, I think you were asking me what watch I was wearing. This is kind of my daily go-to. It's a Casio. It doesn't have the model number on here. But this is a great watch. I don't know if you guys can see. It's upside down, but it has nice large numbers, so I don't need my glasses to see it. I need glasses to see the date and time on it, but I can definitely see, or the date, but I can definitely see the time, which shows I'm 11 minutes late starting. I'm so sorry. But what's nice about this watch, it has a very retro look to it. And it also has little radio receivers in it, or satellite receivers, so it's always 100% accurate. So I never have to set it. Just change the battery, every couple years, and hopefully it's every year, whatever it's going to be. I don't know. But I got this. It's about $65, which is kind of a lot for a Casio, right? Because most people buy Casios for like $10 or $20. But I just like the look of this watch. It's very retro looking, and because of the accuracy too, I don't have to set it. Not like my Seiko, which is a self-winding mechanical, and every time I take it out of the box, I have to set the time. But it's it's kind of my luxury watch. Not that Seiko is really typically a high-end luxury brand. The Grand Seikos are really nice. I don't know if anybody's into watches. I'm into watches just a tiny bit. Maybe like a beginning watch enthusiast too. A very beginner level. I don't know as much as these guys out there that I see all these channels. But oh, Jeff Painter, Jonas, Roberto, good to see you. Yes, the vintage Casio. So you see that. I wish I could. I set up my studio now. I don't know if you guys were here. I don't think I had this set up Tuesday last week where I had everything changed. But I arranged this so I have a lot more desk space now, and hopefully the sound is better. I'm switching over to a lav mic instead of using this this boom mic that I have. It's not a boom mic. It's just a regular desktop mic. And the challenge I was having with that one was my new laptop is, the fans are a little bit loud on it. So whenever I was talking, it would, you would hear the fan noise behind it. Now, if you're wearing headphones, it's very noticeable. If you're just listening on your laptop or TV, maybe not as much. But it's always been bugging me for the last couple of months, or for the last month since I got my new laptop. So I'm looking at some shotgun mics. I think Rob Shoot Photos, or I don't know if he's here or not, was asking me about recommended boom mics. So I'm looking into that. I'm leaning towards right now a maybe an NTG5 by Rode, or the uh, the Zoom F1E, which comes with a mini boom mic, but it also has a built-in audio interface, so I can just connect it directly to the computer. I don't have to buy one separately. And it's going to be a lot more compact solution, and it's more versatile too. It has other options. But anyhow, I don't know if anybody cares about watches and audio. But I'm happy to get my green screen back because the last stream was just a white wall. Um, oh wow, Jeff has a Rolex Submariner, beautiful watch. And David says, I used to sell watches and had a Seiko Plus, a Casio calculator. Oh, the Seiko calculators. Yeah, the classics. um, and Nature says he needs a new watch, or she needs. I'm not sure what your gender is, not that it matters. Uh, Nature says, my Fitbit watch has got badly scratched and dented from building workouts. Wow, nice. I mean, healthy body and mind versus a scratched up watch. I think I'll take the healthy body and mind. I need to get back into working out. I used to buy those fitness watches by Timex with the heart rate monitor. No, it wasn't Timex, but I had a Timex Ironman before, and then I switched over to Polar. And the Polars were compatible with the treadmills at the gym that I used to go to, so I didn't have to I could look at my heart rate and stuff right on the treadmill while I was running. And oh, Palani, how are you? I'm a TV sound mixer and just want to say your streams sound great. Thanks for all the great videos. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. The streams, yeah, sound is a whole different level of skill set that you need. Just like in photography, it's its own little niche. Just like video is different, then photography is different, then sound is different, and getting all of those to work together is really quite a mental exercise, right? And but that's what makes it fun for me. Is overcoming these challenges and problems and learning about different kinds of gear and doing things. Oh my God, yet you're funny. I look ripped. It's just the lighting in here, right? No, back, maybe 10 years ago. What was that? 2010? 15 years ago. Yeah, I used to work out a lot. Oh my God. Twice a day, 5, 6 days a week. And I was running a lot and pushing weight. I was pushing weight like 3 days a week, and then cardio the other three days, more or less. Sometimes they overlap depending on my schedule. And yeah, I had a really good social life back then. Let me tell you, I would go out, put my lucky jacket on. I had a good time. But back in the day, man about town. Oh, Rob, shoot photos. Don't mess with Rob. Things might get salty. Oh, but yeah, I need to work out. I brought my dumbbells up from the basement just to get started, and then I still have my treadmill. I need to start working out my cardio too, because man, I can't even climb a flight of steps without getting a little bit winded anymore. I thought I saw a question up here. Let me scroll up. Something about. Oh, Serge, yeah, I did a second test of Topaz Denoise AI and Google Pixel and posted. Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Serge. On my forum, Serge posted some pictures before and afters using the Topaz Gigapixel, where it upreses the image from whatever to a higher resolution. And the results were interesting, at least on the images that I saw in my forum from Serge. I mean, it did a good job of upscaling it, but I thought it was a relatively simple image. It's just some clouds with a road. And I'd like to see an image that had a little more detail in it. And then times when the AI failed, right? Like times when the AI did an excellent job, and then times when the Topaz AI didn't do such a great job, because it is, again, analyzing the image with some algorithm to calculate where to sharpen things and where not to sharpen things, right? So, it'd just be interesting to see. It's not a software I would consider for myself, and not because it's not good or anything. Just I like editing myself and that creative process, right? But understanding that creative process, also you learn more about what the AI might be doing, and it'll help you make a uh, improve your decision process in purchasing such things, right? Because then you'll understand how it might be working. And then other people, they just love it, just to be able to go in and apply it to all the images, quickly and get a good clean edit out most of the time. And that's and that if that works, if that helps your workflow, all the better. There's reasons to buy tools that like, it's the reason I have to buy the subscription to Photoshop and Lightroom, is because it has certain tools in it that I haven't found in any other software. And it's really very powerful at recovering highlights and things too. Better than anything else I've tried, to be honest. And because I've tried Affinity, I've tried Capture One, I've tried various other ones I can't remember now. And Lightroom is, maybe it's because I know how to use it better because I've been using it so long, but Lightroom has always been really good at recovering highlights. And if you don't want to get the subscription, Adobe Photoshop Elements is an excellent option, not only for the tools that it has, but also the the data management, the picture management of the managing your photos, right? Give me I need some more coffee. Oh my God. I went to sleep about 1:30, or like maybe not even 6 hours ago. And out of that 6 hours, I've been up. Yeah, I'm on for like 5 hours sleep for the last 2 days in a row. I'm a day behind in sleep. All right. Oh, Jacques is here. Good to see you, Jeff Painter. And he's saying, yeah, Topaz Sharpen AI works well on some images. And Peter from Maine. Good. And yeah, we've all been there, right? Hi, Christopher Von Latham. Wow, I really love a lot of the names that I see come through. Like there's a Christian Johannes Eppel, and now there's a Christoph Van Latham, right? Christoph Van Latham. If I was a little more awake, that would just roll off the tongue very nicely. There's just beautiful names. Like, I could change my name. I'm thinking like Robert Julian, maybe Julian. I like Julian. Kind of weird name, but I like it. Robert Julian Maurice Alexander, something like that. Something that would flow. Mark Alexander. But my name just has too many R's in it. I don't like it. But you're given the name you're given, right? And I don't want to change it because it's the name that my parents gave me. So I appreciate that name for what the reason, because it was the name of my dad's best friend at the time, so he gave me that name. Anyhow. Oh, David says, I'm an affiliate with Luminar and they recently announced an AI tool. Many people are not happy. Really? Okay. Yeah, I think people set their expectations too high for what AI might be able to do. I feel like you have to use it in it's still a maturing software, right? It's what I'm trying to do, the reason I'm stuttering a little bit this morning, not just because I'm still tired, but I'm trying to eliminate some verbal tics that I have. Like if you watch my earlier videos, I used to say okay, okay, okay a lot. And then I tried to get rid of my ums, and my ums, right? So I would say I still get a little bit of that. This morning or lately, I've been trying to get rid of this because I rewatch my live streams, to see if I missed any questions. Like I missed Craig's question from last week about my watch. But I'm trying to eliminate these verbal tics. Now I'm trying to get rid of these ahs. I do that a lot too. And in videos, it can, people that are sensitive to verbal tics like that, it's annoying. And I hear it all the time when I watch newscasts or other people's live streams. You hear these verbal tics when you're a little bit sensitive to it. And I think now that I'm live streaming a lot, I'm a lot more sensitive to it when I watch other people's live streams and broadcasts and things. So I'm trying to stop myself from going, Now I can't remember what I was talking about. I was talking about AI. So yeah, AI is still a work in progress, right? For a lot of software, it's very difficult to do what your brain does in your own eyes in software on a computer, because our brains have however many millions of years or thousands of years of evolution, and is very powerful, relatively speaking, to any computer. It's amazing what our brains can do. Let me check the comment section real quick, and then I'm going to continue that thought if I remember. And Nature says, I use Adobe Premiere, which connected directly with Photoshop Elements, but the Adobe Premiere just got too expensive, so I switched to Final Cut. Yeah, if you're on Apple, Final Cut Pro is excellent. And I did it again. I did the Final Cut Pro is excellent on Apple. From all of the video reviews that I've watched on laptops working, and they do Final Cut Pro benchmarks, and of course that's on Apple. And this is for video work, in case you're not familiar with Final Cut Pro. It's really well optimized for Apple machines, and I don't know what it costs, but apparently it's a one-time buy. And it works excellently. But yeah, if you want Adobe Premiere, it's like $50 a month. You have to get the whole creative package, which is Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, like a ton of things. I mean, I think it's worth it if you're in a business where that's a deductible expense, and $50 a month is really nothing, because it becomes a tax write-off, at least here in the US. For me, I do the $10 a month Photoshop and Lightroom. So I use Photoshop and Lightroom, which, like I said, it has a unique tool set that I can't find in anything else right now. Could be worse, like all the case. Trying to adjust my chair so I don't rock back. I don't want to be like all casual with you guys, just kind of rolling around. And Topaz Gigapixel can be useful for old photos that you want to keep from old smartphones. Yeah. I mean, I think it will have a lot of applications, and it's probably going to work really well on many images. But keep in mind, I think it's still a new software, and it needs time to develop. And Nature's asking, anyone know of a photo editing software that can be connected directly as a third party? Yeah, I don't do Apple, so I don't know. But if anyone else does, Nature's asking. People don't really pick those up. I've had to listen to so many speeches where people ramble and fill with us and some equivalent. Yeah, most people, they don't notice, but these verbal tics, they can be annoying to people that are sensitive to it. Because I get comments on my videos, especially my earlier ones, about all of my verbal tics. Guylam says they do not want to compete directly with Lightroom, and AI will not have a library. Oh, that's interesting. Because that's one of the main things that keeps me from a lot of third-party software, is the lack of that library management of your photos. And that's because I do thousands of photos, right? Plus I work professionally, so I need that data asset management and that whole workflow of being able to find photos. And Luminar AI is quite amazing. Yes, Luminar 4 is very smart indeed. Small steps on the slides as I can overdo it. Yeah, I tried, I guess it was over a year ago, the Luminar 3 was kind of the latest thing, and Luminar sent me a license for that. Now they're giving those licenses away, I guess, because Luminar 4 is out. But the Luminar 3 didn't have the library or catalog management almost at any level. You had to open everything up one at a time. And then once you got into it, yeah, it did a great job at editing individual photos, but I can't work like that as a professional, unfortunately. Mounting my EM1 Mark II on a Manfrotto tripod, the base plate attached to the camera slips around. Should I go with an L bracket, or am I mounting it wrong? No. What I do on mine, where is mine? I bought an L plate, and it has, this one's okay, but hopefully you can see it's a base plate that covers the entire base of the camera, and then right here is the Arca Swiss plate on the bottom. And there's little holes in the camera on the bottom of the camera that you can't see on the live stream, that this base plate sort of has notches for as well. So when you put it on, it stays nice and solid. But even then, it still loosens up when I'm going from room to room in my regular pro work. And what I did is I put double-sided tape in between here. I don't think you can see that on camera either. But I put double-sided tape in between the plate and the camera and tightened it down. And that's worked for me pretty solid. And then an L plate is normally on this side. But I took that off because I don't really need the L plate part for what I do. You would think I would, right? But actually I don't need it. So this is what I do. I think you're talking about, because you use these, you're probably just using the regular base plate that comes with your tripod, right? Yeah, these are going to slip around. You could try the same idea, maybe some double-sided tape to keep it really secure, and then tighten it down using an Allen wrench. Don't over tighten, you don't want to strip your bolts. But I have a little Allen wrench tool that I use. This came free with something else that I bought. It's been really handy. It's got all these little notches and everything on it. Different size Allen wrenches, then a Phillips head and a screwdriver. And then I guess that's a bottle opener too. Pretty cool. And the Manfrotto quick release plate. Yeah, it's okay. I don't like the Manfrotto quick release. I prefer the Arca Swiss, but the Manfrotto quick release is I guess, once it's mounted, I don't know. I haven't had any better luck with the quick release plates from Manfrotto versus any other Arca Swiss plate that I've been using. They all get loose. So I have to make sure that the base on the camera is very tight. And then I don't have to worry about, you know, because I got a full plate, so I got double-sided tape covering a lot of the bottom of the camera. And between the plate and this. The only problem with this base plate, it doesn't have a 1/4 20 screw in it. And sometimes I need to use the 1/4 20 screw. So I have to take the plate off. And the double-sided tape I use is actually, I got for mounting carpet onto the floor. Like if you tape carpet to the floor so your carpet doesn't slide around on the wood floor, that's the double-sided tape I use. So it's very, very strong. So that's the kind of, you know, I suppose there's other double-sided tapes, but some of them are really thin. But I bought tape that you use for mounting carpet or taping carpet to your wood floor so it doesn't slide around, and that's what I use for tape. Wow, thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. Yeah, the budget way to use your camera. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, this thing is selling for like $13 now. This little device. It's really amazing. It's an HDMI capture card. It works great though. I was using it the last couple of weeks of my live streams. I switched back over to my J5 J5 whatchamacallit, HDMI capture card because it's a little bit sharper. This $12 card here, it's great. Like I don't think people can tell on the live stream, but when I watch it here on my computer, the replays, because I record them, this wasn't quite as sharp as the J5, so I decided to switch back to that one. But I do use this for the double screens that I do, like this one. Let me see. This is gonna... Hello, AJ. How are you? And Kirk is here. Good morning from Michigan. Yeah, it's early morning. Whoops, no audio. No audio. I didn't finish setting up this new audio I worked out. Dang it. Well, if somebody asks me to show something on the menu in a camera, I'll remember to set the audio. But what I was saying was I bought two of these things. I bought two of these HDMI capture cards. I'm using one to show the back of the screen of this camera while I'm in the live stream, and I also do it for my tutorials when I'm recording videos. So like I said, I have two of them now, and they're very handy to use. You can use Luminar as a plug-in in Lightroom. Yeah, that's true. I don't see a need for that if you have Lightroom though, unless there's something in Luminar you really want. I guess the sky replacement, they have some other tools that are I think the sky replacement, a lot of people seem to like that, which I can do in Photoshop pretty easily. I rarely have to do it though, even in my pro work, because I do real estate, and if it's cloudy out, it looks weird when you put a blue sky behind it, then you have to adjust the white balance. It looks weird in real estate photography when you have this clear blue patchy cloud sky, but then all of the building is softly lit, like it's diffused lighting on the building instead of more harsh lighting. So it looks weird sometimes. I guess it helps to some degree. I've done sky replacements where I picked a mostly cloudy sky with little tiny patches of blue. Then it looks a little more natural. But I've done some sky replacements where it looked like crap because it was like this gorgeous patchy cloud day, very few clouds, but then the building is diffused lighting, so it didn't quite work as well. Oh, use sky replacement? Yeah, on the live stream later. Yeah, hopefully I might have to cut today's photo live stream editing short today. Uh, I have to leave to, yeah, I have some personal things. Unfortunately. Good morning, photos. How are you? Wow, it's been a while. I don't know. It feels like, even though you probably hear every stream, I don't know, but it feels like when I see a name that with someone that's been watching my channel a long time or coming to the streams a long time, every time I see their name, I feel like I haven't seen it in a long time. I miss you guys, I guess. New AI tool is all AI features. Okay. I don't know what that means. I never really looked into it. But when I went to a camera event, I saw some examples. They were demonstrating the AI software, and of course, they cherry picked the images that it worked really well on, like some birds and things like that. And it was pretty impressive when it was doing its job. But like I said, I think people's expectations are a little bit too high, and it does use, because I downloaded a demo early this year or late last year of the AI sharpening tool, and David told me it's updated a lot since then. But I wasn't really that impressed as I was when I saw it at the photo show or the convention. And so I ended up not getting it. But I thought, and I tried the denoise tool. I think it was the denoise tool, not the sharpening tool. It was the denoise tool. And I wasn't terribly impressed with it back then. Maybe it's much better now. I don't know if Topaz or whoever makes those things want to send me an evaluation copy that I can take some time with, like more than 30-day free trial. Like I really need to spend some time with it. I'd be happy to review it when I'm done. And I'm always fair on my reviews, I think. I try to be anyway. Gone Softly, good to see you. I know it's still a little bit late there, but this time slot is much better for people in your time zone, I hope. And that's why I start this early. I was thinking about trying to start earlier, maybe 6 a.m., but I'm still struggling even just to start at 7 a.m., which is my time. Yeah, no news on the Olympus. Yeah, everybody's very tight-lipped right up until the time actually they can announce it. So I'm sure there's NDAs, non-disclosure agreements among everyone that's involved with that. So they have to be very, very tight-lipped until they can officially announce anything, if anything. The only rumor I heard outside of what you see online is when I was in the photo club this past weekend, they told me that one of the Olympus visionaries that does podcasting, he doesn't do the live streams or anything on YouTube. He does only podcasting. But he said that he got his Olympus visionary status renewed for another year, however long it is. I guess it's 1 year at a time. So that was kind of interesting if that's true. I assume it is, because I don't know why somebody sitting right next to me having breakfast would lie to me, but I'm hearing it third hand, fourth hand. I don't know how many levels down this is. So you're hearing it at least third hand, because the person, let's say the person is the visionary, is doing a podcast saying he got his thing renewed, then the person listening would be second hand. So I would be third, right? Because the person listening to that podcast told me. It's trying to keep track of relatives. Like, I don't know, aunts, uncles, cousins, because everybody does it differently based on what region of the country you're in, right? Oh, Luminar AI is built around a new AI engine. Okay. Yeah, Roberto says, sharing images on social media, everything looks good after AI fixes. And Photo says, I'll see if I can find that podcast. Yeah, I forget the name of it. Maybe David Crooks knows, because it was a member of the photo club we're in. Well, David runs it. He's more than the member, right? He's the founder. Uh, I think it was the David sitting next to me on my left during breakfast that told me that, and he knows the name of the person that did the podcast. What am I thinking of? I was trying to continue some thought from before. See, I knew it. If I change gears, I can't remember what I was talking about before. I did want to show you guys something, though. I don't know if you guys were here on Sunday's podcast or live stream, but Dale His name is Dale. I'm sorry, Dale, if you're here. I called you David in the last stream. But Dale sent me this E330, which I thought was a Kodak sensor. But yeah, after looking at DP Review, they did a review on this camera, and they said it's not the Kodak sensor. And I felt like the colors coming out of it were very rich and beautiful because it is a CCD sensor. And I did a comparison, and I posted these pictures on my forum. Let me see if I can show you guys without losing sound. Where's my forum? There may not be sound for a couple of seconds while I show you guys this. So it's this screen. Okay, yeah, there's the sound button. Yeah, so go to robtrek.com/forum, then scroll down here to Olympus cameras. And then I have my I have the post here where you can click on these pictures and get full res images. And what I was doing, I was comparing the E330, which is a 7.5 megapixel image, against my Olympus EM1 Mark III, which is a 20 megapixel image. So I put these images side by side. So there's a little collage that I put on Instagram. This is a picture where I tried to recover highlights and shadows, you know, kind of an extreme way. I wasn't going for aesthetics. I was just going to see the performance. And then these are the straight out of camera JPEGs of the images above that you can pick. And when I look at these, the colors look exactly the same to me. Now, granted, it's mostly just green and a tiny splash of orange here in my dog's Ellie's eyes here. But I couldn't see any difference in the color when I actually pulled the images out, the straight out of camera JPEGs, which surprised me because my first outing with it, I was a total failure. You know, life without image stabilization, I had really failed. All the images were blurry and stuff, but I was really surprised. But these cameras are 14 years apart, right? This came out in 2006 and the EM1 Mark III came out in 2020. And there's so little difference to the naked eye here. It's only when you pixel peep, like on this image, where you can see a huge difference in sharpness, but I think that has more to do with the actual resolution going from 7.5 megapixels to 20 megapixels. But yeah, go to the forum and you can look at those pictures for yourself. You can download them if you want, it's fine. But that was really surprising to me. And Nature's saying, I doubt whether the transition to JIP will make much difference in the immediate future. It will be, I will still be buying M13 and 150. Yes, me too. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to buy Olympus products right now. That said, my EM5 Mark III died on me yesterday. I just put the battery and turned it on because I was setting up for the stream, and I was going to have it down here on the table instead of my EM5 Mark II. I went online and got the warranty thing, and I'm going to send it out today. It just won't power on. Like there's no battery in it or something, which is, I don't know why, because I used it Saturday. I was trying to vlog with it Saturday. It was fine. And then it wouldn't turn on yesterday. So I'm going to send it in and see. And the thumb grip was coming off. So the EM5, you know, I don't know. I didn't. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll send it out. Fortunately, the repair center's only 1 or 2 days away by UPS or by mail, so they'll get it very quickly. So the turnaround time, when I sent my Pan F in for repair, the turnaround time was like 5 days. I sent it out and got it back within 5 days, back to my door. So they only had it for a day or two to fix it. Oh, it's echo? I'm sorry. I don't know what's causing it. Oh, I need to disable. Okay, let me go back. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this screen. All right, is that better? Is the audio better? Did I sound like a dialect? A dialect? I never was able to pronounce that right. That didn't fix it? God. All right, there we go. That should have fixed it. All right, I'm going to say a few words here. Did that fix it? I hope. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, good. Thanks. I see what I did here. There was the laptop microphone was on at the same time as my little lav mic. But yeah, this should sound much better than my other one now that, the thing with audio is about proximity, right? The closer you can get the microphone to the source, the better it's going to sound. And that's what this lav mic allows me to do, and it picks up less of the fan noise. Actually, I can turn that fan off. Oh, Lysippus is here, and Brian. Awesome. Arthur, good to see you. Little Sir Echo, how do you do? Won't you come up? And Rob says, tough to say what they will consider under warranty due to dropping the camera. Well, I didn't drop it. I mean, I've dropped it, but it didn't break the camera. That was way back when I first bought it. I dropped the camera. But it not powering on has nothing to do with that from 8 months ago when I did drop it. If they tell me it's going to cost some money to repair, I guess I have to pay it. But I seriously doubt it. We'll see. Because a lot of times when a camera won't power on, it's because of water damage, and there was no water damage on the camera, so I'm sure it's something internal, some circuit breaker or something in the camera just tripped. Because maybe I'm not the only one, right? Because the repair center will know. They'll say, "Oh yeah, power won't come on. Another one." Like I'll be like the 100th one to come in like that. Then they'll just repair it because it's a common problem for a repair center. Maybe not common problem for people that actually own the camera in terms of, the world population, but service repair center, they always know what the common problems are with cameras because that's all that comes in. But we'll see what they say. And it's a good time to get my button fixed too. And that thumb grip coming off. They should fix that. I don't like that. Just little things that bother me. Thumb grip should not come off. Not this early on. If it was like a couple years later and the thumb grip's coming off, I'll cut them some slack because glue and depending on the type of climate you're in can really mess with glue, and you can't make glue that works in every single environment necessarily. I'm not a chemist, like a glue chemist guy, but chemistry is very sensitive to the environment, and you can't make perfect glue for every environment. So I can appreciate when glue starts to kind of come undone over time. But it hasn't been that long. I'm still under warranty. My feeling anyway. I was talking about this E330. But yeah, check that out. The other thing is I put a poll out for my about the 100 to 400 coming out. Let me look at how that poll's doing. If I can do this without an echo again. There we go. Dang, I was talking for 5 minutes there. Nobody knows what I was saying. But yeah, so my question here was, are you going to get the 150 to 400? And yes, I've been waiting for this, 10%, so like 14 people. No, I don't need it, 34%. So that's what, roughly 40 people. But I was saying, I wanted to qualify that no answer with, you don't need it because you already have a lens, like the 300 Pro or the Panasonic 100 to 400. So not many people have it, maybe 11 people, 9% out of the 147 votes. And then the last one was, I want it, but I'm going to wait for a deal. So the yes is, I've been waiting for this, meaning you're going to get it right away. I should have qualified that a little better. And then the last one being, I want it, but I can wait for a deal. And I should have qualified that with, can you wait a year? Can you wait a couple of months? Because deals are hard to come by with Olympus new stuff, right? You have to wait sometimes a while. It didn't take long this time for the M5 III to come down a couple $100. It only took like 3 months. But can you wait 3 months? Can you wait a year for that deal? But I thought this was an interesting poll. So if you haven't voted yet, chime in your vote here. And hopefully I don't have an echo now coming back to here. It's amazing. And people ask why I get dislikes on my video. It's because of stuff like that, right? And Arthur says, I wouldn't carry something that big. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Arthur. And David, I know David's been talking about it for a long time. And Nature says, unless people want to wait the 150 to 400 Pro, then the 100 400 lens looks good and better than the Panasonic Leica 100 to 400. And Rob said the 75 to 300 is good enough. So yeah, it's the 75 to 300 is good enough for me because it's certainly a lot smaller. It's only like 300 grams versus almost a kilo for that lens. I don't know how much it weighs, but it looks heavy. And oh, Casper, you got the 100 to 400. I assume you mean the Panasonic because the Olympus hasn't been released yet. Unless you're a visionary or something or have some deal with Olympus directly. Did you get the 100 to 400 Olympus version or the Panasonic? Yeah, the 75 to 300 is a super lens for the money. I agree. I mean, I got mine for $399, which yeah, that's a good deal for a lens that long, and it's not bad. Oh, okay, so Casper says in Denmark. Wow, so how do you like it so far? The 100 to 400. You probably, I mean, you paid full price for it, I assume. And 1500, I don't think is a particularly great deal for a lens like that. But it does have the stabilization and weather sealing, and supposedly it's very good. So yeah, it might be worth every penny. And generally that's the case with, I think, Olympus lenses, is you definitely get your money's worth. So this year the prices have gone up quite a bit. That 300 millimeter f4, which I've had my eye on forever, there was a window last year, late last year, like November, that I could have got a deal on it for $2,000, brand new at my local camera store. They had some specials and promotions, wait for a deal kind of thing. I wish I got it then. It was only $2,000, but right now it's like $2,700. It's like $700 more than it was just in November. So I'm really surprised how much prices have gone up. Fortunately, the cameras haven't gone up, the bodies themselves, but all of the lenses seem like they're more expensive. And Casper's using it for butterflies. Oh, I see. Maybe, if you can, post some on the forum, my forum, some images. I'm sure people would love to see some like real images, right? Versus looking at shots on YouTube. Because, Peter and Robin, they all did video reviews. I don't know if they put links to photos or not, but it'd be nice to see some actual photos from that lens. And Roberto says, I've been waiting for the M1 Mark II to come down in price, but Australia is Australia is rough. John Softly was telling me that the Panasonic 150 to 400 or 100 to 400 is less expensive than the Olympus 100 to 400 by like $400. Here in the US, the Panasonic 100 to 400 is about $300 more than the Olympus 100 to 400. So it's kind of opposite, which is weird. Okay, Casper, yeah, that's cool. We can just go to your Facebook. You don't have to put anything on my forum. But if you want to post like the raw image, because you know Facebook compresses things, right? I'm sure people would love to see like a raw, straight out of camera JPEG too. But yeah, check out Casper's Facebook. Maybe we can take a look right now. Let me see. Let me try it. Facebook. Where's the search button? I keep changing the interface on this. Okay, Casper in Denmark. Awesome beard there you got. Oops, nobody's seeing what I'm seeing. Here we go. Wow, look at that. That's nice. Let's go full screen. I assume these were with the 100 to 400. I don't know. Well, let's not look at everything. Let's focus on just the what does this say? Yeah, this is the 100 to 400 lens. Nice. Wow, look at that. That is amazing. What focal length was this at? Huh. Really nice. Click a like there. Good job. See if you got anything else here. Here's another one. This doesn't say if it's the 100 to 400. Well, these were back in August 16th, so these were a couple of weeks ago. So probably this one. This one is the only one I see. Nice. Okay. Hopefully there was audio there. I don't know. Oops. I missed you used to use the 60 macro. Yes. Those could easily be 60mm macro shots. And then Troy says, hi Rob, just unpacking my new EM1 Mark III. Looking forward to snapping off it. Yeah. Awesome. EM1 Mark III is awesome camera. I'm going to take it out today actually and do some shooting. It's not pictures I can share, but I'll try and get some I can share with everyone. I haven't shared a lot of pictures from the EM1 Mark III because I've been using it in my pro work. Super deals on the M1 Mark II here in London. Yeah, they were giving away a free pro lens, right? With the M1 Mark II, which is amazing. Amazing deal. Somebody was saying they bought one for like $660, an EM1 Mark II. Maybe it was a refurb, but still. Whew, that's amazing. Both Tamron and Sigma have a 150 to 600 for Canon and Nikon, and they charge about $1,000. To have 800 mil is not bad for not much more money. Yes, yeah. I have the Tamron 150 to 600 actually. I think I did pay about just under $1,000 for it. And it's equivalent to the 75 to 300 that I got for my Olympus because it's almost the same, you know, aperture and focal length, you know, identical focal length. Now, I did notice though, when I put the 150 to 600 onto my Pen F or any Olympus camera, that at 600 millimeters, it did get a little bit closer than the 75 to 300. So the 75 to 300 didn't quite match in terms of reach a true 150 to 600 on a full frame, my Nikon, at least with the Tamron 150 to 600. It wasn't a big difference, but it was definitely, the framing was a little bit tighter on the full frame version versus my Olympus version. And AJ, how are you? So I wanted to ask your opinion, Rob. Go for Ollie 100 to 400 or Ollie 300 Pro with teleconverter for extra reach to take photos of the moon and I would honestly, if money's not an object, I would go with the 300 Pro with the teleconverter. And yeah, me personally, if money was no object, those are the those two choices, I would get the 300. The Pro lens is always going to be sharper. And Olympus was bragging about how the 300 Pro, when it came out, was the sharpest lens they ever had. So, and the few reviews that I've seen, I haven't seen direct comparisons between the 300 and the 100 to 400, but when people were talking about the 100 to 400 that already owned the 300 lens, said that yeah, the 300 is sharper than the 100 to 400, as you would expect. And also the if you add a 1.4 teleconverter, you're going to be at I can't do the math in my head, but you'll be over 400 millimeters at f5.6. So yeah, 420 millimeters, I think, at f5.6, which is pretty solid. Pretty solid, nice and bright for that focal length. And nature's saying the same thing. Okay, Casper. Hey, thanks for dropping in and sharing those images on the butterflies. That was great. I appreciate that. Roy says, I need to rewatch your setup vid. Okay, which setup vid? About what? Oh, about the setting up the camera. Duh. What else do I do? And then Nature's saying that, yeah, he found the Nikon 200 gives a tighter and closer image than the 100 on the Samyang Micro Four Thirds macro. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's partially to do with the aspect ratio, right? Because 3:2 is a little bit wider than 4:3. 4:3 is a little more square, and a 3:2 is a little more rectangular and less square. So that's partially it, I assume, but I didn't really overlay two images on top of each other to see if within the same framing if it's tighter or not. But it was so obvious, I think it was tighter, even accounting for the aspect ratio. If that makes sense, right? And I wish, but yeah, the 100 to the 150 to 600 Tamron lens was terrible on my Pen F. Terrible. It was hard to focus. The IBIS couldn't keep up even at 500 millimeters. That's why lenses need their own image stabilization inside. And Troy's asking, any idea when we will see the Olympus 100 Pro macro lens? What are your thoughts on this? Is it in the roadmap for 2020? I have no idea. I have no idea. We can only speculate that they're going to release it this year before Christmas. That's the thing, when you're transferring your company, it's related, right? You're transferring your business over to another company. You have to maintain a very high level, if not higher level, of quality and production that you had before you were talking about selling it. And that's why you're seeing the EM10 Mark IV being cranked out, and the 150 to or the 100 to 400 was cranked out, and now there's rumors of another camera coming out all before we really hear anything official about the JIP transfer. And that's because Olympus has to maintain a very high level, if not higher level, of product, customer service, everything, that goes with, the expectations you have of a company. Because the buyer, JIP, can still back out of the deal if they feel like Olympus is acting in bad faith and just dropping their business and dumping it off on them. They want the person buying the business, generally speaking, if they continue to plan, if they plan on continuing the business, they want to take over a business that's running at its very best. Or they're going to heavily discount it, right? Say, we're going to pay you less, or we're going to back out of the deal altogether if Olympus is not doing that. And Nature says, seems the Nikon 200 macro is about 120 on the 4/3. Wow, that's pretty significant. And Marco, hey Marco, highly unlikely the 100mm makes it to the market in the next 3 months. If it happens, it will be mid next year at the earliest. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and Nature's going to consider the 100 macro as a replacement for the Nikon 200 and the 100 Samyang macro. Mainly so you get autofocus. Yeah, autofocus and auto stacking. Yeah, those are handy, right? The auto stacking, though, I think is still, the focus stacking is still JPEG only. You can always focus bracket in RAW, but the focus stacking. So just, I don't know if you were aware of that or not, but yeah, focus stacking produces a JPEG image, the end result. I think it still saves all the RAWs up to that point. I don't use it, so I'm just speculating that it will save the RAW images up to the final image that's stacked into JPEG. I once attached my Nikon 105 macro to my Olympus camera. I forget which one. But yeah, you can get really close. Put camera in fill flash, but Kodak's attached to shoe doesn't always go off. I'm not really having any problems with my Kodak's trigger. I just bought a new one too. Because I've been using the X1T for a long time, but I bought the Pro trigger. Where is it? In my bag over there. I haven't had any problems. The only time I had a problem was when somebody else has a Kodak's trigger nearby me. This has happened on these photo walks. There's a guy that uses a Kodak's or Flashpoint system, so I had to make sure we're on different channels because it was really we were messing with each other, right? Like I'm trying to do quarter power and it's firing at full power and vice versa, and I'm like, why? And then we realized we were overlapping each other on the triggers. Okay, so the focus stacking gives a general merge JPEG, yeah, which is useful. Yes, definitely. I mean, it's great for people that just want to, take some focus stacked images and not have to worry about it in software. But yeah, professional results are always, you get the raw images and you stack them in post yourself using software. Because you can get a lot more steps. I think focus stacking in camera is only 7 or 8 steps. Whereas you can focus stack to your heart's content manually, right? With the camera and fill flash, but the Kodak's attached to the shoe didn't always go off. Oh, you're putting the flash directly on the camera. I rarely do that. But if the radio trigger works, I don't see why the flash itself wouldn't work just as well directly on the camera. I'm really not having any trouble. Just maybe check your contacts are clean, but that shouldn't, how often do you use those contacts, right? What amazed me though is I bought this this camera is 8 years old, right? This is the Olympus XZ2, and my Godox trigger works on this just fine. And Matrix, and I use the MC14 and Kenko 10 millimeter and 16 millimeters extension tubes with a 60 macro. You can try. I don't see why not, because I don't see why not. It's really going to depend on what lens you put on. And the MC14 only works with certain lenses, so it's going to be like the 150 or the 40 to 150 Pro lens. That has a pretty close focusing distance. I don't know if the net result would be any better than using the extension tubes, but generally I wouldn't use more than a 10 millimeter extension tube if you're going to do that, because when you start going stacking on like 10 millimeter, 16 millimeter, and then you stack those and you get 26 millimeters, unless they're very high quality extension tubes, I would be careful. They can break, the mounts can break, but beyond that is I get a lot of barrel like flare inside the barrel. It's not a light leak, so to speak, but the light has to pass through a longer tunnel, and a lot of times these lower end extension tubes are shiny inside. It's black, but it's a shiny black plastic. And when I stack extension tubes together, I start getting flare or glare inside the lens. So just be wary of that if you notice lower quality results. Try backing off to maybe a 10 millimeter extension tube, and that may be the best you can get, because the trade-off of going from 10 to 16 to 26 millimeters may not be worth it because of that flare. And Jose is asking, do you notice a significant difference in image quality between your Panasonic 12 to 32 and 14 to 42? I'm thinking of upgrading my kit lens. I have the easy version. I wouldn't upgrade to a 12 to 32 just for that tiny bit of difference. It is different, it is sharper, no question. When you're shooting regular 16 megapixel, 20 megapixel images, the differences are so subtle. There's a little more contrast, i.e. tiny bit more sharpness in the Panasonic. Definitely the contrast is better across the board on the Panasonic lens. So you get this perceived sharpness from that. But when I shot high-res shot mode, I was able to see a difference. So if you're shooting high-res shot mode a lot, like it's like, say, 20% or more of your photography, it might be worth it to get the 12 to 32 instead of using the 14 to 42. You're going to lose some features, maybe, like focus stacking is one of them. But I think, yeah, for high-res shot mode, it might be worth it if you like doing that. And it's cheap enough that maybe you just switch anyway, right? You can buy, I bought mine used with a camera for 200 bucks. It came with this, I got the GX85 with that 12 to 32 kit for 200 bucks. So yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you buy it. I wouldn't buy it new. I definitely wouldn't consider it an upgrade if you're buying new, but it's cheap enough that you can buy, if you know, because you can buy these for about $125 US. It's cheap enough at that price. If $125 is not a big deal, just get it. You know, it's not, I think you'll be happy with that lens. You have to modify the extension tube as the teleconverter has a bit sticking out. Well, you would put the extension tubes behind the teleconverter, not between the lens and the teleconverter, but behind the teleconverter. And in that case, I don't see it affecting. It might though. That's a good, I don't have one, so I can't tell you firsthand. That's a good point. But I can't imagine not being able to mount the extension tube to the back of the teleconverter. But it's possible. I can't see why that would be the case, because you have the electrical pins that have to be at a certain flange distance. That's my thinking anyway. And even if it doesn't work, it's okay. You still got a great lens and teleconverter, right? You just can't use extension tubes with it. Because extension tubes are cheap, cheap. Oh, nature says you just tried too tight a fit. Okay. I'll try and find a list of brands that does work. It's only a couple of brands. Yeah. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, that's just not an area that I have the gear here that I can show you and test for myself and tell you exactly which ones work, because there are extension tubes that don't work even with regular lenses. I ended up buying this brand, cheap ones. Hold on, let me show you what I got now. Yeah, this is a Voking, Voking, $16, but it's full on plastic. Lens mount, front and back is all plastic. And this one worked because the locking deep enough. The Kenkos, I think I bought some Kenkos before. The locking pin wasn't deep. That when I mounted it onto the camera, the lens wouldn't engage. The camera wouldn't recognize the lens. So I returned those and I got these but they're all plastic. Locking pin mounted onto the camera deep enough that recognize the lens is attached. Whoops, I forgot to put my lav mic on. This is the only downside to a lav mic. I'm not mobile. And then the Mikey has a metal mount, right? Front and back. And that had a good locking pin on it, and that worked fine. But even the Mikeys, even though it looks like it's all metal outside on the mount and around the barrel, the inside, everything inside that metal is plastic. And I broke, you know, the metal screws going into the plastic underneath the metal broke on me because I bumped the lens or something and it broke the mount right off. And these are like $25, $30 extension tubes. Now, I've seen extension tubes that cost $80, $100, and I can only assume that those are all metal inside and out and have better coating inside. You know, hopefully they're better quality, but I'm not spending $80, $100 for extension tubes for something I just do once in a while. And if these break, I'll just buy another set. But now I'm very careful with these extension tubes because even if it's metal on the outside, the inside is plastic and it can still break easily. And nature says the extension tubes do fit between the teleconverter and the camera. Okay. Like I said, it's not something I can try. And Rob says, I agree, you need to find extension tube that has the same ridges like the OEM hoods have on the inside. Some have glued some sort of felt inside. Yeah, it's hard to shop extension tubes, you know, online because you don't always got a good view of how it's made, right? So you have to kind of go by other people's recommendations. So maybe check out the MU43 forum and see what people are doing there if they've used extension tubes with their teleconverters. That's a really good resource. And Jock is asking, hi Rob, do you think Olympus will stick with Micro Four Thirds or might they move to bigger sensor like Panasonic has done? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because Olympus has never been never did any R&D for full frame up until this point. And if they were to start doing it now, start doing R&D for full frame cameras, you know, we're looking at a couple years out. And that timeline in the current market is too long. So they're going to have to focus on Olympus's strengths to capture as much market share as they can in the immediate future with the Micro Four Thirds that they have. And maybe down the line, if they generate enough revenue, they can start cranking money into R&D for a full frame or different size camera. If they've been working on a full frame behind the scenes and not telling anybody, then yeah, maybe we'll see one sooner than later. But by every interview or statement I ever seen from Olympus up to this point, it's been, we're not considering full frame. So why would they have any R&D going into it at this point? Because yeah, it takes a year, at least a year or 2 years of R&D, and then setting up deals for manufacturing. Yeah, I don't see it happening for at least 2 years. If they start thinking about it right now, it would be 2 years out before they come out with a camera. And that's just too long. They can't afford that. Not in this market. John Softly says, get a bellows, no flare, no strain. Yeah, the bellows. And the Canon RP full frame. Yeah, I did a review on that Canon RP. I'm sure you've seen it by now. Oh, I got to start my next stream here in a couple minutes. Yeah, and Peter's using the 4150 kit with the extension tubes. Yeah, that's a great combination. Yeah, and full frame would require all new lenses too and optics, right? That Olympus just doesn't have anything, so it's, you know, they could do like Panasonic and just join the L-mount alliance, and that eliminates the lens problem if they wanted to go full frame. But that's still, the R&D side would still be, and Panasonic just came out with their S5, which is really caught my eye, actually. We'll have to wait and see till it comes out, and maybe get a deal on it. If I can get a deal on it, maybe. But right now, okay, I have to start my next live stream. So thanks everyone who joined in today. I really appreciate your time and spending it together with me this morning, or this, you know, whatever time zone you're in. And I always have a good time. And I'm going to go over to my photo editing live stream, so you're welcome to join us over there if you're into that. But otherwise, we'll see you guys back on Thursday or next week. Thanks again. There it is.